Analog to digital. We'll tell you all about it, what it means for you on this edition of Mitchell Talks, the News 9 Sessions with Aaron Brillbeck. Hey, welcome to the program. Glad to have you here this week with the birthday boy. It's Aaron Brillbeck. By the way, before we introduce our guest, did you get tacos, pizza, or burgers for your birthday?
I got tacos.
You did?
I did.
Great segue.
But no candles in the tacos. It was very disappointing.
Well, we'll have to work on that. That sounds like an analog deal for sure that can be fixed. Our guest this morning is Secretary, are you ready? Let's make sure I get this right. Secretary of Digital Transformation and Administration, David Ostrow.
That's correct.
Good to have you, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have to get you some more tacos.
I need more tacos.
Right.
You can never have too many tacos. Hey, so the state of Oklahoma is stuck in a Commodore 64 world.
Actually, we're probably stuff that predates that.
Is that right?
We have systems that are in Cobalt, and we're still running emulators on some of this old software. And the problem with this old software is a lot of it was customized back in whenever, the end of the 80s. And the people that actually wrote it can't find, I don't know if they're alive or dead or retired.
The big floppy disk, they're like this.
Oh yeah, so nobody has the source code for any of this stuff. Even some of the mainstream stuff that the state has purchased, they've customized. And so if we take an upgrade, we don't know what we'll lose.
So dumb it down for me. What does that mean?
Well, as we look at a perfect example is our accounting system. Our accounting system went online before the iPhone existed. And so if you think about any type of mobile interface, we don't have that ability. And because we've customized it, if we take an upgrade, we'll lose things that some of our agencies need for their mission to function. So we're going through and we're figuring out what we'll have and what we won't have as we take some of these critical updates that get us into the 21st century.
Part of the problem is we've got software, we've got hardware, where agencies can't communicate with one another.
As a rule, agencies do not communicate at all today with one another. And the agencies themselves actually operate as independent silos of government. They run their own laws, they talk to their own legislators about things that are important to them. Keep in mind, the governor doesn't have full control over all agencies. And so I have agencies that reported to me under the administration side that I give direction, and they're like, well, we work for boards, we don't work for you. We don't work for the governor.
Oh, that's so much
and so,
fun
again,
for taxpayers to hear, right?
No, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating for us because, again, we represent 4 million Oklahomans, and all of a sudden we have agencies that sometimes are not aligned with the vision of what's best for Oklahoma. It's what's best for the agency. And that's what Governor Stitt is coming in and changing that. And what makes Governor Stitt very unique is he's reached across day one. He went and he met with Senate leadership, he met with House leadership, and they collectively decided, hey, we're going to work together to move the mark in Oklahoma. And it's been an unbelievable working relationship. The direct control the governor has gotten over the major agencies that he got in this session. The cooperation between both sides of government have been absolutely amazing, and probably a first in Oklahoma history.
Let me ask you how that the governor got you involved in this, because we see this recurring theme of successful people who are leaving. Well, they're not leaving, but they're giving their time for free, okay? It's not free stuff, it's high price stuff, but it's not costing the taxpayers anything. And my reference to your tacos and pizza and burgers, you haven't left your job in the private sector.
I have not. Well, first, out of most of the cabinet secretaries receive absolutely zero compensation. We can't get our parking validated. And so, and again, it's not a commission job. I'm at the Capitol 50, 60, something last week, 70 hours a week, doing business for the people of Oklahoma. The governor's office has no budget to pay us. And so my thought process was, if Governor Stitt was willing to leave his job, which he did, he was a successful and a business leader in Tulsa, to essentially commute and or move to Oklahoma City, okay, he's working full time, I was going to be here to help him. And so my day job, I own Taco Bell's, Burger King's, and Blaze Pizzas in several states. And so I go to my day job between 5 and 8 in the morning, and on weekends, and then I'm at the Capitol until sometimes until the wee hours of the night.
And one follow-up before we get back to the serious guy. When Secretary Budd was here, who left Arby's, okay, that corporation, he was talking about the best burgers that they had over there and the people that he worked with. And it wasn't Arby's, it was Sonic. I'm sorry, I stand corrected.
Arby's has the meats.
That was fake news right there.
Fake news.
I'm sorry about that. He left Sonic. He said double meat cheeseburger. I guess that's a number 2. Sonic was the best burger in the world. We would like to give you equal time.
Well, first of all, Secretary Bud and I, our offices are next door to each other. We see each other every day. The beauty about our relationship is we're very different, and we'll call each other out when one of us are wrong. Okay. And again, with all due respect for Sonic, this is Sonic's hometown. Okay. Nothing beats the Whopper. Okay. That's undisputed anywhere.
Because it takes 2 hands.
It does. Okay.
handle a Whopper.
It's a better product, and he knows that.
All these people that here are very young, and they're like, "What's he talking about?"
I
It's
know.
like a
But you own
100-year-old
Taco
commercial.
Bells too?
I do. So I own most of the Taco Bells north of 122nd, and most of them south of Moore.
Taco spelled backward is OCAT. Can you explain that?
I did not know that. but I'll use that in the future.
Let me get back on the technology for a second. Draw me a picture of what you're looking at for the very near future using these guys.
So I'm running 2 parallel paths, because as you go ahead and restructure agencies and get agencies to talk, and you start peeling back some of our issues, some of those projects are long projects. I committed 2 years to the governor, okay? And I would hate to be involved in a project that takes 4 years to complete, and someone say, "Hey, what did you get done?" So we're running 2 parallel tracks. There's the long game on things like corrections and some of the stuff we're doing with education. And then there's a short game on mobile technologies, instant plugins that we can provide. So mobile driver's licenses are rolling in the next 30 days.
How would that work?
So we actually entered into an agreement with a vendor that's doing Department of Defense work. They've done this for other states. We will be the leader in mobile driver's licenses. It uses facial recognition, where it actually compares your picture to the file at DPS. It will show instantly whether your driver's license is valid. It will flash if you go into a bar and you're 20 years old versus 20, so the days of fake IDs are over. You can get a wireless ticket from interaction with law enforcement. So law enforcement will send you an immediate pop-up for my safety and yours. Please stay in the car. I know who you are. And it gives information. The information flows freely back and forth. That also then provides your digital key to all state services. So if you need a hunting and fishing license, if you need a concealed weapons permit, if you need SNAP services from Oklahoma Benefits, I can pump all that information directly tied to you securely through facial recognition to your handheld.
Securely is the part that concerns me, because you know that hackers are real good at what they
I
do.
understand, but think about the security that's in your plastic card that's in your wallet, and think about the advancement of printers today. Any smart 16-year-old kid with a good printer at home can come up with a fake ID, and so it is highly secured. It's tied to facial recognition, and so it's as secure can get.
You mentioned Department of Corrections. One of the issues that we've got right now with criminal justice reform is we're trying to decide how many people will be impacted should 781 be made retroactive, how many people are going to be released. And we can't get accurate numbers because the DOC's computers, they're so out of date.
Again, it was a custom script that was built for us a long time ago. It should have died 10 years ago. We were working a project to rebuild, and again, they were following the same flawed strategy that they have done for years and years. Come build me a white elephant. We went to several other states that were using programs that were off the shelf for a much lower cost that provided everything from direct API interfaces to the courts to direct parole, pardon and parole type systems. Right now what we do is we have databases that people type, and then they hit print, and then as we transfer, you get a big stack of paper. I have a prisoner's record on my desk that is literally 15 pounds. And it doesn't touch the health aspect. It doesn't touch DHS, where we've displaced families because a loved one potentially is incarcerated. We're going to fix that. We are working hard to fix that. Governor Stitt does not want to be top 10 in incarcerations.
I know you work pretty cheap.
I do.
But this isn't going to be cheap. I mean, we've got to revamp our entire computer system statewide.
We do. And what we're doing is right now there are 650 active projects that are at ISD, the technology side of OHMS. And so what we've done is we've assessed every one of those projects. We've told some agencies, hey, this is not a priority, you're going to have to wait. We've paused a lot of projects that, again, just there was no champion, there was no strategy, nobody had done a journey map. The funny part in state government is nobody asked a question. Back to the tree example. If we want to build a road and there's a tree in the middle of it, okay, we bulldoze the tree. If there's a law in the middle of our process, we go around it and we create custom script. And so we've gone openly. I had a meeting with Senate and House leadership yesterday, and I said, hey, what about this law? Do we need this law? And because if we can remove certain laws and certain restrictions, okay, we could make things more efficient. And they've been very open to that. And so, and again, it's part of the relationship that Governor Stitt has established with House and Senate leadership.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you timeline this for us?
The mobile driver's license, the online checkbook to be able to show where all our treasurer does not know how much cash we have at any given time without looking at multiple sources. We are putting our online checkbook in the next 30 days where the public will see where every penny is and how we spend every penny at the transaction level. That will also have dashboards for the governor, for Secretary Budd, and then for every cabinet secretary, they'll have each one of their dashboards of all their agencies to be able to track every dime, whether it's restricted or non-restricted, in spending. Those will be done literally by the end of the month. With corrections, we have a system that we could stand up in as early as 90 days if that's the right solution. The current path, we were almost 4 years, and we can't wait 4 years. Our systems could crash any day today. We put out a memo to all agencies yesterday talking about different levels of legacy services that OHMS would no longer support, because we built this unbelievable data center on Lincoln that we spent, we spent taxpayer money to build this thing, but we never mandated that every agency go over there. And so what happened was the agencies with old legacy technology, things that were built 20 years ago, they ran over there because they couldn't support it. And so we're supporting things that shouldn't be supported any longer. So we sent out a letter yesterday to all agencies saying that the following systems will not be supported. You need to go ahead and appropriate money to be able to replace these systems, which will help us modernize these things, cover any type of security concerns we may have, and eventually connect everything together. Everything should be connected together.
In other words, if you're running Windows Vista, it's not going to happen.
It's funny because that's one of the software operating systems that was listed on the memo.
Can you give us an example of one of those deals where you want to wrap your head in duct tape to keep your brain from exploding? Just an example of what you ran into that made you want to pull your hair out.
There's something new every day. I think some of the pushback that we get. I had an agency make up a law. That was their reason. We couldn't do something because of a law. It started it was a banking issue that I wanted to modernize, and I was told it was against the Constitution. And I was like, well, the Constitution was 120 years ago. They probably started 5 years before that. So it's probably, at least the document's probably 125 years old. I was like, and it addressed electronic banking? Seriously?
Well, I read it on the internet. It's absolutely got to be a real deal.
So we find that people make up laws that all of a sudden, if I ask the wrong question, I won't get the right answer.
Change is hard, though. That's going to be the hardest thing that you're going to be dealing with is people are complaining about the computer systems they've got within state government, but then when you want them to change, they're very resistant to it.
The one that probably made me go pull my hair out by far, I have 1,000 employees in my core business, and we adhere to very strict Department of Labor regulations as far as time clocks, and we have to have these time records. The state does not. The state uses timesheets. And so we have 400 clerks statewide that just type in your hours for your comp time and overtime, which are essentially self-reported. Think about it. Self-reported clock. So what time did you get in today? Did you get in at 8 or did you get in at 8:05?
4 this morning.
Well, and so we're cleaning that up. And part of that is with our new accounting upgrades. We'll have immediate electronic punching in and out of employees, which you would think would be a given. Any business in the state of Oklahoma would have that as a given, but the state does not.
Think we can get you back in a year to tell more stories? I mean, just from here forward, a year from now, and then just start categorizing those stories that make you say,
Well, I have a good friend who's a publisher down in Austin, and so I was with him 2 weeks ago. He goes, will you sign over the rights, because I want to write the book about the Stitt administration and the things you guys saw, because again, we're outsiders. Now keep in mind, we do have some insiders that understand state government. They understand the landmines. I have a trusted state employee that I call to make sure that what we do, is as we jump and we run, it's like, hey, make sure you keep me between the rails, because there's things that we don't know, and so keep us legal. Or if we run into a true legal objection, let's go ahead and let's talk to all parties to make sure that what we're doing is above board and transparent. The governor wants everything to be transparent. So.
well, it's an interesting time with you. And what are you going to do with all those brick phones that you're taking from those states? I guess they're probably not there. All those old Commodore computers, it's unbelievable.
I have a friend that reached into her purse once. We were in a conference, and she pulled out a 1980 cell phone. And she's like, no, I need it done now. Okay, all right, good. We're on the same page. She put it back in her purse, and we're all like staring at her. She's like, I got you. Yeah. So I think I'm going to get one. I got to get one on.
Get that thing away from your head. Secretary Ostrola, it's very good to see you. Thanks for coming by and letting us know what's going on. We appreciate it.
And happy birthday again.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
He's analog. I mean,
Need
he
more
was born in
tacos.
analog.
Need more tacos.
You always have plenty of tacos.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. See this again at news9.com/Yearbout Counts. And by the way, you can get all of this right here on this little thing right here. You can follow me on Twitter at Mitchell Talks. See you next week.